What's going on, team? Welcome back to another Stock Market Movers. And it seems like the market continues to climb the wall of worry. And it seems like a lot of people really starting to believe, could we potentially have a soft landing? Is this the start of something bigger? That's really what a lot of investors are fighting right now. One thing I would say is you can't fight the price action right now. Seems like the bulls do have control. We got up just recently to a new high on the intraday to 406.76. Earlier, we had hit 406.63. Can we keep going? Maybe the 410 in reach today. We're also going to talk a lot about Intel climbing up that wall of worry, right? Visa we'll take a look at. Chevron, American Express, Colgate getting hit there. We'll talk about the value and growth trade. We'll get into all the action. And one area where I'm seeing pocket of strength right now really is the financials. It's kind of interesting to see that continuing. Of course, if recession concerns are the main topic there, well, certainly not showing up in the charts right now. Let's get into the action. Stock market movers. And of course, I have my guest today, Rick Rule, founder of Rule Investment Media. Let's get into the action. That'll be at 1:15. Let's take a look underneath the hood. There are three ways to make a living in this business. Be first, be smarter, or cheat. I can't help you cheat, but I can give you the informational edge to help you succeed in the markets. Welcome to Stock Market Movers. All the market moving headlines and expert opinions every day. They say money is the oxygen of capitalism, and I want to breathe more than any man alive. What's going on, team? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the SPY action right now. And I'll go to the 5-minute at least so you can see a little bit more of the action. You guys can see we reversed on that pullback. Came down towards around 404, started holding that pullback, pushed right back up there towards the highs. We'll look to see if this can continue to run, but let's just take a look on the daily. I mean, really good week here for the bulls, right? Overall, coming back here towards the 406, we're going to look to see if we finally get back towards the week of December 16th, the week of December 2nd, right? We had two touches in the 410s. We'll look to see if we get back towards those levels. Of course, that's where you could run into some resistance. Right now, I don't have a level for you. We'll see right now if we can keep climbing. Of course, you guys know my level for really getting bullish is more closer towards 420 on the overall, that we could, climb right back up to all-time highs. But it's been a really strong tape lately. And one thing that I am starting to pay attention to is the RSI getting closer and closer towards that 85 level where we turned around last time, and that was in August 16th, right? We had an RSI reading there of 83.54. We'll look to see if we finally get towards a level like that, right? Will we get back into the 80s on the RSI? RSI is even starting to tick down a little bit today, which was kind of interesting, but something to keep watch. I'll keep watch to see when we get towards those 80s. Once we get into the 80s, that's when I'm going to start taking a little bit more of my shot for us to pull right back down. We'll see what happens. Right now, it doesn't seem like the time. All right, let's get out of the SPY talk. And of course, we did get some PCE data to come in today, right? PCE year over year index came in at 5% versus 5.5% prior, and core PCE coming in line, right? A majority of the numbers coming in line. Also, the price index month over month coming in line. I think that at this point, what we need to start thinking about is, when will the consumer really break? Because if you look at the personal consumption, we've still continued on the uptrend. When is that moment where the consumer starts running into problems, or will it come? That's one thing that we've been looking at. I know a lot of people have been expecting the consumer to crack, but it seems like they've stayed strong, right? If you guys saw recent comments on the earnings call from American Express, showed more of that outlook that yes, they do see loans increasing, right? The credit card bills increasing, but they're not worried about delinquency just yet. Something to keep in mind. We'll see if that consumer mentality ever does truly break down, and something that we all need to keep an eye out for. All right, catching up with the chat. It's good to see you guys out there. Richard, Becca, Florida, MD, the Crow, Joan in the house. What's going on out there? How we doing? It's good to have you guys all joining in. Smash the like button. Let's keep it going. Shannon, what you looking at out there? Looking at the oil department? We'll talk a little bit of oil. Definitely saw energy take a hit today. All right, let's get into the action now. Of course, we just did get this morning Intel, right? Let's talk a little bit about that as we talk about climbing the wall of worry. Let's go to the 15-minute. You guys can see how we came down here out the open right towards those lows, really close to the level, right? I mean, the level 2676 right here, about 2675. You can see we got really close to that level on that pullback, went down towards 2678, giving you that ability that if you wanted to be really tight on that risk, you could have been buying that pullback right there in Intel, getting a little bit of a dip buy there. It's climbing back. It got up to a high there of 28.24. But I think this gave us more sign that potentially if Intel could come back, well, climb the wall of worry we would with different tech stocks, right? Different semis like NVIDIA's recent move, right? We've talked about how that is really starting to get back above the inverse head and shoulders and starting to hold. Well, now you guys see it starting to really hold that and start pushing. AMD also, I thought that this could help give AMD a lift as Intel, of course, the competition of AMD. It did take the hit, but look how quickly we climbed that wall right back up there to 76.16. We'll see if AMD finally gets back up there towards 77, but not a bad move there for the semiconductors. Of course, falling off on first after hours yesterday, but climbing back today towards the open, especially in the stock like Intel. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look. What was really the negative in Intel that I think everyone should watch out for is those gross margins going down to 34.1%. Another thing that has been mentioned, of course, is they're doing deeper and deeper research, right, and development. Hopefully that comes back and gives fruition for the shareholders, right, if they're able to actually innovate and get a little bit stronger in their performance for their chips. But for right now, it's not looking good there in the PC and kind of the computer area. This, on the overall outlook, it's not looking good towards the end of the year. But the market's not buying it, at least on the guidance here. All right, let's go to Visa. You guys know we've been talking about this stock plenty of times. This is one of our favorite technical charts, just pure technical, right? Look at the monthly chart and how we really started to come back above the 220. And what I liked about this one was when we finally first got to that 220, what did we do? We got that throwback look where it came back, caught support, and now has been continuing to push higher. Let's give those Visa numbers. Q1 EPS, $2.18, beat to $2.01. Sales at $7.9 billion, beat the $7.7 billion estimate. Visa did announce February 1st that they will have a new CEO, something to keep in mind. We'll see if this can keep running. Visa and MasterCard are some that I like to look at. Let's go take a look at the daily, how MasterCard is doing today. You can see it's actually in the red right now. Something to keep in mind. Could see a little bit of a turnaround in Visa, but Visa staying strong, at least for the time being. Up there towards a high today of 232.84. All right, let's keep going. We'll get out of Visa. We'll take a look a little bit into the oil stocks. Let's go to Chevron. Chevron, of course, CVX. We'll take a look how it's performed on the day. You can see how it's pulled back here right towards the kind of the support area. And we were looking at this support area on the daily, right? You can see kind of this trend line that it's underneath it, finding support, right? We'll look to see if this can hold. I definitely don't want to see a break, let's say around the 177 level. If that cracks, well, we might need to get going. But if you can see, we were just back up there towards pretty much all-time high here, closer towards this 11/14 date where we went to 189.68. We'll look to see if we can bounce at least for the time being. We've come down really fast towards that trend line. Now we'll look to see if we bounce back towards, especially the gap zone. If we're able to come back towards 183.49, that doesn't look bad at all. It filled in the gap already. You can see it here. Boom. Nice little gap fill, right? We'll look to see if this has an opportunity to come right back up. All right, that's on Chevron. Of course, they gave yesterday a huge buyback, probably about like the second biggest buyback that we've had in the last 12 months, other than Apple. I didn't see much that were bigger. All right, getting out of that conversation of Chevron, we'll talk a little bit more about oil stocks and what was hot and what was not. Let's keep going with some of these headlines out there and, of course, the earnings. Chevron did miss on EPS. That definitely affecting them. But their free cash flow, just to mention, $8.7 billion. They got some free cash flow, right? We'll see what happens there. Let's go to American Express. I definitely thought this was an important ticker not to miss, as we saw Capital One really take off of their earnings. American Express coming in with an EPS of $2.07, missing the $2.22 estimate. Sales of $14.18 billion, missed the $14.22 billion estimate. They increased quarterly dividend from 52 cents to 60 cents a share. And they do see fiscal year 23 EPS $11 to $11.40 versus that $10.52 estimate. I thought this one could get a lift into the open. It continued to push. You guys can see it from this morning, from around 7 a.m. It was around 156.27. Got up there to 174 on the day. So definitely a big breakout there for American Express as it's making its way back. I'll look to see if it can hold 170 on pullbacks as you got out of this kind of bearish trend and starting to come back. We'll see what happens there. One thing to note also, look how far the moving averages are on American Express. They're all down here towards 153. Just shows that expansion move away and really kind of more of a breakout towards the upside. We'll look to see if it can hold and find the buy the dips. All right, let's go. We'll see what happens on American Express. Going to keep going in through the headlines. I'm trying to get through as many as possible here. Now, our disaster stock on the day, right? Colgate-Palmolive definitely taking a beating today. You guys can see that on the daily chart. I'll put it on the 15 so you guys can see the continued leak into the intraday. Let's give their earnings here. Colgate-Palmolive Q4 EPS 77 cents, beat the 76 cent estimate. Sales at $4.62 billion, beat the $4.59 billion estimate. They did see fiscal year net sales growth of 2 to 5%, but value names are not where it's at right now. At least that's what it seems like. You can see CL taking a big hit, but it wasn't only that one in household personal products, right? PG, Procter & Gamble taking a hit today. Clorox taking a hit. We'll see what happens on these. It seems like the value trade on these definitely letting go. We'll see if it's able to bounce back, but definitely Colgate-Palmolive down big today. And not a place where I want to jump in front of this, right? It's really falling off the wagon. We were looking to see if we were going to get back above 80s and push to 85. Now you rejected hard, right back to 72 and looking like you're coming towards 70. We'll see if it's able to find the bounce or not. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there, team? How we doing? It's good to see you guys out there. Florida. What's up? All right, Jay Rice, pretty overextended, trim and trail, or sell some on the upside. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Neo being brought up in the chat. We'll take a look at that on what was hot and what was not. I was looking at it earlier today if it was going to start having an uplift. And yeah, just got started, right? We'll see what happens on that one. I'm sure Tesla's not hurting that one, right? Of course, Tesla, bigger outlook there in China. XPEV, maybe we can see that start taking a nice little lift. LI Auto. And for that case, that's why I was looking at Lucid, right? I had been talking about Lucid yesterday that this could get the squeeze if Tesla could keep going. Well, boom, there you have it. Even I'm calling the Lucid from the top to the bottom, and now it's starting to come back up. Might have to get shorted again. We'll see if it can get back there towards 16, 18s. That's where I'd get shorted again, but definitely a big rip up there for Lucid today. Lucid halt. Oh, there you guys see it. And that's just how it happens. It's real quick. 44%. Literally was just talking about this yesterday. I actually cut out of a trade on this yesterday just because it wasn't moving. Should have been keeping my eye on it today. But then again, I would have been missing it here during the show, right? Nice little big rip up there in Lucid. Look for Tesla to kind of continue. That's what got the motor started, right? We'll see if NIO can keep making a lift. Maybe even Fisker gets some lift on this, right? It's already getting a nice little push. You think about it, recent move about 9%. See if this can keep pushing. All right, out of that conversation, always love the chat, keeping me on the trends that are going on right now. You guys can definitely see those autos getting a big lift. We'll talk a little bit more about these names on what was hot and what was not today, but let's get into our interview today. Like always, want to get to the experts. Today we got Rick Rule, founder of Rule Investment Media. Let's get into the action. All right, how we doing, Rick? It's good to have you on.
Thank you for having me on. And to answer your question, life is great. Thank you.
Yes, we can't go wrong either way, regardless of what's going on. We always got to be flexible, going with it. Recently, we're getting a rally, and it's kind of interesting to see a rally right now. But I wanted to talk to you about the mining industry, right? What are you seeing in the mining industry? Are there any big trends that we should be aware of?
Well, I think the biggest trend that we need to be aware of is the fact that society as a whole has underinvested in mining for 30 years. The consequence of that, coupled with global demographic and economic growth, is that we are, depending on how the economy grows or doesn't grow, probably 5 years from fairly broad-based shortages of mined products. The thing that would, of course, derail that sort of supply-driven bull market would be a synchronized global recession. I'm not an economist, and so I can't tell you if we're going to have a synchronized global recession. What I can tell you is this. Most of your listeners, I think, are fairly young. A parable for a mine is me, 70 years old, somewhat past his prime. We are, as a society, living off copper mines, as an example, that are very old. Bingham Canyon's 150 years old. Chuquicamata, 110 years old. Without substantial new investment in mining, maintaining current production will be difficult, and maintaining the production necessary for the electrified economy will be very difficult indeed. Is this a trend that's going to matter today or over the next week? Absolutely not. That's not the way that you play the natural resources game. Is this a fact that you have to think about in terms of planning your life in the future and the rest of your investment portfolio? Absolutely, positively, yes.
I think one of the things that we always got to keep in mind, right, is there's a finite amount, right? It's not unlimited, right? And I think that's one thing to keep in mind when we're thinking about different materials. There's only so much, and a lot of it you can't get to a lot of the times, right?
The last part for most of your viewers is more important than the first part. Remember that through human history, the only mineral deposits that we've ever found are ones that we literally stumbled on, that outcrop on surface. There are a lot of buried deposits. But the second point that you made, which is to say that we can't find them, that they're difficult to find and more difficult to access, is true. The other thing that we need to consider is that increasingly society takes a hostile view of mining, despite the fact that they want to use the products. There's a wonderful copper deposit conveniently located in the United States in Arizona next to a copper mine. That's one of the greatest undeveloped copper deposits in the world, over 1 billion tons of 1.5% copper, where the average mine grade worldwide is a third of that. The deposit was discovered 20 years ago, and if it's ever permitted, it'll take another 10 years, which is to say 30 years from discovery to production as a consequence of politics. Regardless of your politics, you need to understand the consequences of increased social take, which is a fancy way of taking taxes, and regulation on the supply of materials that you need to improve the quality of your material life. and the materials that 3 billion people on Earth who experience material poverty will encounter as they choose to try to increase their living standards.
Now, of course, one of the major trends that we've been talking about and thematics that we look into is lithium, right? And I think lithium is such an important focus if we're ever going to get to that massive adoption of EV. Well, the lithium will have to be there, right? What do you think about this opportunity for 23 and looking forward?
I think that the lithium stocks are on fire. Remember that the lithium price has increased fourfold. The truth is that there's no shortage of lithium resources in the world. There's an extraordinary shortage of processing capacity. Demand for lithium has outstripped the industry's ability to create processing capacity. The lithium price will eventually fall back to earth. Markets always work. They're just not efficient in the near term. If I was going to play the lithium game now, I would be playing the lithium game in the largest, most muscular companies. I wouldn't be playing the little Canadian penny lithium names. I'd be playing Albemarle, SQM, the companies that just need to add processing capacity because they have 60 or 70 years of existing lithium resources. Be very nervous in the natural resources business about suggesting that the trend is your friend. The truth is, in resources, you are either a contrarian or you are going to be a victim. These are capital intensive, cyclical businesses. Interestingly, when the price earnings are very low in some of these companies, the truth is that they are that way because commodity prices are too high. So you get trapped into these sort of earnings plays. Conversely, when the price earnings ratios look really ugly, what it means is that commodity prices are unrealistically low. You need to understand the cyclical nature of resources to play the game well, be that resource lithium or anything else.
All right. And my chat having a little fun with us, telling us to keep it in mind. You got that one, right? All right. So let's talk about, of course, it seems like the Ukraine and Russia situation is not ending anytime soon. How could this be affecting the mining industry?
Well, I'm no geopolitical analyst, but certainly Russia is an important source of raw materials and, in the case of uranium, processing capacity worldwide. It is also true that sanctions usually don't work. So while Russia may be prevented from exporting oil and gas, copper, nickel, and things like that to the West, the rest of the world is happy to take it. So I would suspect that all other than the sort of psychological import, that the near-term impact on supplies is going to be much less than people believe. The longer-term impact, however, goes like this. Russia's spending most of their surplus cash to fight a war. They aren't making the sustaining capital investments in their oil and gas business or their mining business that are necessary to maintain current levels of production 6, 7, or 8 years from now. So if you look at materials where the Russians are dominant producers, as an example, phosphates, potash, oil and gas, certainly nickel, platinum, and palladium. I think when you look out 5 or 6 years from now, assuming that the war is over by then, that the consequences will begin to be felt because the Russians haven't been making the sustaining capital investments necessary to maintain their production in the out years. Is this of any value to a trader? None whatsoever. But again, for a contrarian investor, understanding the necessary consequence of the arithmetic around the lack of Russian sustaining capital investment is an important way to look at markets.
Now, of course, I just saw recently, even today, dollar index getting a little spike, but it has been starting to trend lower. How do you see the dollar's impact on gold and silver?
You know, I'm no economist. I need to say the old joke that the US dollar is the worst currency in the world, except all the others, continues to hold true. I think that gold is doing well because people have started to understand that even the best currency in the market can have an overvalued expression in the bond market. If you look at the US 10-year Treasury, it yields what? 350 basis points in a currency that the Congressional Budget Office suggests is losing purchasing power at 7% compounded. The value proposition then around U.S. Treasury securities is what my friend Jim Grant calls return-free risk. On the U.S. 10-year, the government is basically guaranteeing that they're going to destroy 3.5% of your purchasing power a year for 10 years. The first promise in my 70 years on Earth that I believe the government's going to keep. That makes gold look fairly attractive to me. I need to say, too, I need to step off in a couple of minutes. So
no worries. I'll get you out of here, Rick. Last thing, definitely, I wanted you to give a little moment to tell us about Rural Investment Media and your upcoming boot camp.
Well, I'd love people who care about silver to attend our Silver Investors Boot Camp. We propose to teach them all things silver in 8 hours. You'll have the ability not just to spend 8 hours with great experts, but also to replay the message for up to 6 months. We came off a very successful Uranium Investors Boot Camp. As always, with all of my investment education products, if you pay the tuition, that's $99, and you don't think you got your money's worth, I'll give you your money back. The financial risk is all mine.
Hey, well, you guys check out ruleinvestmentmedia.com, and I also threw up the link there for the boot camp. Appreciate you coming on today, Rick, talking about the mining industry, lithium, and the war situation. We'll definitely have you back on and bring you back. I appreciate you coming on, Rick.
Pleasure. I'm sorry time is so tight. Thank you.
No worries. It's how it is. Rick rules, they're saying in the chat. Appreciate you coming on, Rick. Let's go ahead. Let's get back towards the markets, team. I did see Lucid kind of reopen the team, keeping an eye out on that. It's up towards 14. I think it halted again, team. So, hey, you guys can't say sometimes I don't at least point the flag in the right direction, because we were looking at Lucid just yesterday, team. A little upset today that I didn't grab it a little bit. I was looking at it. I did see kind of Ford getting the lift also. Look how Ford is getting the lift here. GM. This is all off Tesla. When EV comes back into favor, guess what happens to these stocks? It gets on the radar, team. That's what happens a lot of the times. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Ride get some lift up, right? I mean, full disclosure, I'm not a proponent of Ride, but at the same time, these are the types of moves that we got to catch and always be looking out how industries affect different stocks, right? Macro to micro. Always looking at the intermarket analysis to try to find an edge. Relationships. Look at Fisker now. We were just looking at it before, 115. It's already gone from 736 to 763, another 4% there. Well, we'll keep watch to happen. What is going on in the auto manufacturers? So let's take a look there. All right, let's see what is leading the way right now. Of course, you got Lucid, you got Fisker. Will Rivian get the motor going? Look at Rivian moving. Nikola. Who's rolling down the truck today? GOEV getting a lift there. Tesla. CENN. XPEV, look at this. This looks like a little bit of a short squeeze going on right now in these autos. Even Workhorse, PTRA getting the lift, NIO. This is why I like to pay attention to what? Industry moves, team, because look how this auto manufacturing has really taken off. And what does this look like? This looks a little bit to me like what? Tesla. That's why I try to focus on the leadership all the time. Leader, laggard style trade, team. It's one way you guys out there can be finding some edge. So if you want to know, how do I find moves? Well, it's not necessarily that I have to be on the right stock. I sometimes just have to be in the right sector, the right industry, find the leader. How's that going for it? How's the story? Is it in favor or is it not? That's why it's so important to always ask ourselves, what's the current environment? So important to catch that. And that's how you're able to catch what? All right, so if Tesla's making moves like this, right? We're getting the EVs to make moves like this. What usually comes after that? Well, you get the lithium names to kind of get up there, right? We'll see if LAC gets a little bit higher. PLL already has been pushing, right? We'll see if MP gets a little bit higher, right? We'll see if LTHM goes up a little bit. We'll see if the charging stations are moving, right? Take a look at Blink. That's setting up right now for a move above 15. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens in Charge Point. Will this get the lift, right? Or maybe it's some FSIL getting the little push there, right? Or a Plug Power. All the types of stocks that can start getting moving, especially if we're going to keep climbing the wall of worry. Definitely in the chat, guys, smash the like and let me know if you guys are looking at some of these and you think they're big opportunities. Let's keep going. Smash that like button and let's get into what was hot and what was not as we take a look at the sectors that are getting the move. All right, let's keep going, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Easy Mike, EMPH ticked off. Neo, Jay, you taking some Neo? There you go. You trim some. Take that money and run. Can't go wrong. All right, I just jumped on. What's happening with Lucid? It's just a push. It's just a short squeeze. In my eyes, that's just a short getting squeezed, getting out of the position. And a lot of this happens when you're getting that kind of industry to get a little bit of a lift. So we'll see what happens there on Lucid. Where could it stop? Well, I'll tell you right now, if we can make our way back here towards weekly support, well, I'll be looking to get short again, Lucid. That's going to be up here towards 1673 in that area. Oh, I'll be going short again. We'll see if we can get back up there. Lucid making a little bit of a turnaround today, getting back up there. But for some reason, I think they're going to struggle this year. I want people to keep in mind, it's not going to be the best year for auto manufacturing. I'll say that. And I can say it again. And I feel confident in that. And I don't think Tesla will even hit their number. They want to increase by 50% this year. With high interest rates, I don't see that happening. But to each his own. I'll tell you right now, that doesn't matter in the short term because the short term stocks are ripping in autos, as we see in Lucid up there to 1521. What a monster. All right, we'll see what else is going on. And just like always, you guys control the show. Just like today, you guys called out these stocks were moving. Well, guess what? We got right on it and covered it, right? All right, let's get back towards the sectors and the outlook right now. If you guys take a look here, technology leading the way today. Technology stocks pulled back yesterday, then started climbing, still continuing to climb here. Look at the high cap names. You can see how those are climbing. Apple climbing, Microsoft still staying sideways a little bit. Not the biggest move in Microsoft today, but that's not bad because that was our warning stock, or at least our earnings stock that got hit, right? Google climbing higher. An important one today, definitely not technology, but Amazon. We'll get into that in a second here. But NVIDIA, we talked about that above the inverse head and shoulder. This one, at least a clear neckline. So at least this one, I feel like this is a good inverse head and shoulders. TSM, I feel like this is loading up for a move back towards 100. Doesn't look too bad. As long as you can hold off kind of like the 92 area, we'll see if this makes the run towards 100. Meta staying strong. It's continued to stay strong since pretty much November. Back up there to 152. I didn't think it would be able to get past this 140, 142, 141 range, but definitely it's been really strong. And you can see Meta back up there to 152. We'll see what else is going on in technology. Solar is the industry that's actually pushing it back a little bit today. EMPH finding the bounce. First Solar staying strong, man. First Solar does not want to turn around. I was looking to look today to see if we were going to crack 170, start coming back towards 161. Instead, we're right back up towards 180 almost, 179.78. And EMPH definitely getting a nice little push today. That's not looking too bad. SEDG also getting a lift there. Solar not turning around, getting the push. Application names, software application names. Talked about how Salesforce has stayed really strong as of late. Going to look for this to be affecting other stocks like Oracle or maybe in Adobe to get higher. We talked about this yesterday. Adobe not having a bad day today, starting to push higher through that 365 and filling in the gap. Now let's see if it can continue to push higher. We'll see on that one. Japan W is another one that's been going higher today. I traded CrowdStrike, was able to make a profit on this. And look, it stopped me out on, I took some profit towards the 105. It stopped me out on this move, and it's higher than my exit there. It's already up towards 105.66. We'll see how this kind of keeps working. Was taking a look at some other cybersecurity stocks to see if they were going higher. Also, you can see the relationships working right now. That is an important thing. When we catch in those relationship style moves, we're going to be able to nail some down here. Consumer cyclical, the high beta names really starting to push. You can see consumer cyclical up there towards 3,189. It's trying to keep pushing. Those are the high beta names. A lot of that being driven by the auto manufacturers today. And of course, you guys can see leisure continuing up, right? We've talked about the cruise lines. Those have been strong. We'll look to see if we get a nice close here from NCLH. Let's look at Carnival Cruise Line. That's trying to get back through 11. We'll see what happens on names like this. Definitely leisure has been getting a nice little uplift. Even look at Peloton. Peloton strong, team. That just goes to show us what type of market we're in right now. We're in the buy everything mode right now. It seems like it. And the only area where things are not looking good, let's go into what's not hot right now, right? Let's get into that. You can see energy down today, pulling back big. And so there's your kind of stocks that are taking a hit today. Of course, it could just be a pullback like XOM pulling back. Chevron, of course, led the rip yesterday. It's okay to get a little bit of a pullback today. Defensive names in the red also, but where I definitely saw some names in the defensives taking a big beating was in those household personal products. We talked about that value trade falling off with Colgate, PG, a lot of these kind of value names taking a hit there. We'll see if these can kind of keep bouncing back, but definitely the value trade has just fallen off the tape. And the reason why, it's because growth is leading right now, right? I mean, look at ARKK back up there to 40.26. And you're seeing a lot of these names continue to lift. Shop on a takeoff as of late. Since Friday last week towards right now, you're in almost a 30% move there in Shopify. Just shows us there, pushing strong. Car fell off. What halted again? Is it Lucid? Yeah, Lucid. All right, we'll see if the Lucid Dreamers can keep it going. I'm letting you know right now, guys, we get through that 1673. I might take a little bit of a shot to the short side. We'll see, team. This is fun. Definitely seeing that Lucid rip off. And I mean, man, if I would have just swung this yesterday, we were looking at it. You can see 126. That's why you guys, live trading. We talk about a lot of these stocks on live trading. We're looking to see if that's going to keep running. Look to see if that one keep pushing Rivian higher. Maybe Rivian goes for a halt. Look how Rivian's ripping there, right? FSR. Remember, we just talked about this one where before 115, we're at 744. We're already to 850, 14% higher from where we saw it, right? Still making moves. We'll see what happens there. Not looking too bad. Car Guru's interesting, but old car values down. Yeah, this is just a rip, guys. Carvana could get a rip off of this. Who knows? Look at Carvana getting a big push off this. Look at that. Boom, 18%. Looks like they're going for it, man. So many stocks. This just goes to show us how much the FOMO is rampant right now. Woo-hoo. Hope my man hung on. My man Dennis hung on to his Rivian. It was a tough move there, and that's how it is sometimes. Even Nicola getting the lift there now. We'll look to see it keep going. Did the ride get moving? Even the ride getting moving. They're taking it all, team. They're taking it all. In the auto manufacturing, I only got about one stock in the red. That's BLBD, Bluebird Corporation. The rest of them in the green. That shows us something, team. Got to catch it. All right, it's crazy out there. What was hot and what was not? Do me the favor, team. Smash the like if you guys are enjoying the coverage today. I mean, we just looked at stocks make a huge run there, all on top of it. And a big part, you guys out there in the chat. Shout out to you guys. Let's go. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other stocks that are making some moves. Let's go to the SPY overall and just see top leaders, right? Let's go to that. All right, so if we take a leader from the open, right, that's where I usually like to pay attention. What's our leader, right, in the S&P? Well, it's Tesla. You want to see those autos continuing? Look for that Tesla run to continue. Right now, it got up towards 176.88. Remember, this was at 100. It's almost done 100% move since the beginning of the year. Tesla, if you were able to nail it, shout out to you. RHI, Robert Half Internet. I don't even know this one, but it has been pushing. NVIDIA higher. ODFL, Old Dominion Freight Lines, getting some nice lift. American, we talked about that. Generac, Match Group getting up there. Intuit, climbing that wall of worry. We talked about some solar names. Under Armour getting a little bit of a lift. This shows me that I need to take a look at Nike. Will Nike continue higher? Nike's been going sideways here. We'll look to see if it gets the lift towards 130 as we're seeing Under Armour take the nice little lift up. All right, we'll see any other names that you guys want to talk about. Go ahead and throw them up. I know the industrials are staying strong. Areas that I'm keeping an eye on are like Cat, Deere, starting to climb back. Those are value names, but still staying in there, right? We'll see what happens on these. How did Lockheed Martin do today? Pulled back a little bit. Wanted to see how these defensive names were doing. They're starting to climb. We'll keep an eye out on them. All right, let's keep going. 5 minutes ago, you said that you didn't like the auto industry. Yes, clearly, what did I say, Alex B? Don't get it twisted. It's all about long-term and short-term. There's a reason why I want to short Lucid in a few. So it's all about short and long-term. You can trade any price action. Long-term, you always got to keep in mind more the industry. That's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm always going to tell you how it is. That's the way it is, team. There'd be the whole different thing. You guys, I would want to short Lucid. I don't want to buy it. But if the price is telling me that, there's a reason why I wanted to buy it yesterday. It's the reason why, team. Beating down names out of favor. All of a sudden, the industry leader gets a big run, continues to run. Well, they just go combing into ditches. What's down there? Lucid? Let's take it. Ride? Let's take it. Workhorse? Let's take it. Nikola? Let's take it. That's how it works. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is making moves. That's what it's about, team. And it's a big move. Lucid, let's go to it. 1680s. We got another halt. Okay. All right, team. I want to go short Lucid. I need to pull up my brokerage on that. This show's not about live trading, team. So a little part of me really wants to get short Lucid right now because I feel like the next halt will be a down halt. But I'm not going to run in front of the freight train. I'll do that one when I'm on my own just to kind of focus in because I really need to be looking at my level twos like that if I'm going to take a trade right now. But I'll tell you right now, Lucid stays above 17 for tomorrow. I'm going to be in there. We'll see what happens. All right, Lucid is HTB. Ooh. We'll see what happens there. Everyone's talking about it. Someone is covering a short. Saw 75,100 order. The dash for trash is real, man. Ooh, look at that, man. This thing went from 9 to 1680. To think that yesterday I was trying to jump on it. That's just how it goes sometimes, team. Tesla, can we get through the high? That's what you're going to want to see if you're going to keep this riding higher, right? What's up with the NIO? What's up with the Rivian? Did that get into a halt yet? No, I haven't seen the big breakout there. Did the Fisker? Ooh, Fisker pulled back down from that 850. It's tempting me on Lucid. I'm not going to lie, team. I'm going to leave it for right now. Looks like we've been going through some 5-minute halts. Let's look what happens there if we get another halt on Lucid. But definitely smash the like. Let's go. Don't do it, Mitch, says Eric. Yeah, I'll wait a little bit longer, team. All right, glad you like the show, AB, and it's okay. Alex, if you catch me saying something and you feel conflicting information, call me out on it. I have no problem with that. That's what it's all about here. I want to give the feedback. I want to hear the feedback. I'm just always trying to point us in directions. You guys make your investment decisions, right? The only thing I can do is show you what I see underneath the hood, and then you guys make your own investment decision. All right, I was going to buy Lucid. But I was greedy. I was waiting for $5. What's your prediction for Lucid? Well, you guys know. And my lines don't lie, because one of the things I like about my charting platform, TC, is that it has dates on my lines. And look when I created these lines. I created this line, this horizontal at 2026. I created this on June 30th, 2022. That's how long I've been trying to get short on Lucid. We called out this pattern. And when they started dropping here on their earnings, this was right here on September 2nd, September 4th. They started dropping off their earnings. That's really when I really started calling it down there towards $10 is what I said. And it went lower than that 10. It almost got to the 5. So now it's okay to come back. And you're making a big part of this move right back. Like, look from the high to the low and look where 50% is, team. 50% was 14. We're up higher than 61.8% of those losses, and that was not a short time frame, right? Think about the time frame that we're talking about here. We're talking about a time frame of about almost 6 months, 5.6 months. 117 daily candles there, and you're making it back in pretty much like one candle here. That just goes to show you the type of market we're in. All right, we'll see what else is going on. It is a crazy one indeed today. I'm glad I was able to talk about Lucid and not miss this type of move. Another one that we can keep in mind, right? And I'm seeing one that I wanted to keep on mind was, are we going to get like a Bitcoin run? If we do get a Bitcoin run, could stocks like Mara get that similar type of squeeze action? Just putting this on our radar, right? I don't believe Bitcoin's going to squeeze anytime soon, but I just want to put things and mentality in our mind, right? All right, let's get back towards the market. How's the market reacting with this action? Looks like right now we're towards 406. Let's go to the 5-minute here. We can see some topping action. You can see right around the wick here, we're not closing many bodies towards 406.62. Let's see if we can get a run towards 407 here and really get through that 406.62. Really strong stock on the day. Amazon gave an amazing opportunity for the move back through 100. We were looking for that yesterday. Didn't get it yesterday. Today, we get the lift up through 100. And on the very next candle, you get the pull back right to 99.96, giving you a great opportunity to get that lift. It pushes to 101.27. Then, in 3 candles later on the 5-minute, comes back towards 142, holding that body high over here and starting to use that as support. It starts to push. We'll look to see if Amazon can continue climbing. Does not look too bad there. And if Amazon climbs, I look for like stocks like Melly and Shop to get a lift. And look how they're continuing to push. We'll look to see if those can keep climbing higher. All right, Easy said, just sold Lucid. 1780s. Woo-hoo-hoo. Lucid had many sales at 1840s, then halted. It's going halt down this time, I bet, says Eric. I'll tell you right now, one of the things that I've done in these situations to give you guys how do we attack this? Let's say for profit sometimes. When I'm getting a stock that's ripping up like this, a lot of the times I'll even put out an order. Let's say if for some reason I got in at 17 right out of this halt, right? I got in at 17. It gets up there. It's starting to go up to 1720s, 1730s. it's okay to throw out an order really high, higher than you expect to get filled. Like if you were at 17 there and you start seeing 17 climb, you can throw out that 1780. Who knows? You sometimes get these pop fills where it just pops, fills you, and then comes back, especially when we're smaller in size. We're not a big order on that book. The algos climb it up, it grabs that size, it comes right back down. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw out that order, not even expecting it to get hit, but I'm just going to throw out an order up there. If the stock just pops and gets it to me, I'll take it and run, right? We'll see what happens there in Lucid. If it can continue climbing, next level for me would be 19. It's almost back up here towards the resistance of kind of the 2026 area. Definitely there's resistance in the 19s. So that's going to be the next spot for me. We'll see when it opens up here, how it reacts. All right, definitely going to keep going. It's 151. I do want to take a look at some other stocks, but I understand why it has everybody's attention today. All right. Eric S says, yeah, love that idea. Great info. Yeah, it's helped me out before. I've been in certain stocks where I've gotten into like a second halt. And as soon as that second halt started and going into that third halt, I threw up an order just like way up there. Just got a pop fill and got out of the trade before it turned around on me. And it's tough. These momentum trades, right? It's okay to run towards profit too, right? I know that there's some people probably that got out at like, let's say 15s or 13s, kicking themselves right now because it's at 17. I don't think that's a thing that you should be kicking yourself for. When we do make these types of trades, and if this is your style of trade, I think one of the most important things to do on these types of trade is build up your discipline in how do I attack the approach, right? Some people like VWAP pullbacks. Some people like buying the high day breakouts. Some people like using the 9 EMA method, right? 1 minute pullbacks on the 9 EMA, right? I mean, let's see if that would have worked out for Lucid, right? Just to give you guys perspective, right? I'll show you guys that. That type of move is this move where you're seeing the 9 EMA, right? 9 EMA is the light blue line here. Look how it holds on these pullbacks. It gets above towards 12. It comes right back to the 9 EMA, which is at 1150. You get a low of 1152. It comes up through the halt. What does it do? It comes right back down through that 9 EMA at 1246. You get a low there of 1202. Recovery of the 9 EMA. We break through that 1340s. 9 EMA recovery. There's a lot of different styles of trades that you guys can be nailing here. The big thing is working on execution. So if you're able to nail these style of trades, just give yourself a pat on the back and keep moving forward. Learning how to build discipline on these style of trades is what's really going to save you. There's always going to be that trade that goes against you in the momentum trade. You have to be able to first risk preservation, also be able to execute and take rewards. That's the hard part. All right, getting out of that conversation, going to go back to the overall market to see if we're going to be keeping this push. One thing, though, I can clearly see is we're starting to get a little bit heavy up here. Not being able to continue to push. We could start seeing a little bit of a sell-off as some worries come into the close. But what I expect, just a little bit of sideways action from here. I expect us still to close above 404 for the day. And if we close above 404 for the day, you're looking great there for the bulls. You can see the 9 EMA crossing the 200, 50-day working its way to the 200. We almost got the golden cross on the SPY after, of course, we got in the bearish cross all the way back in March 11th of 2022. It's almost right back there for those technical traders that like that type of outlook. All right, catching out there. What else is going on? Microsoft showing weakness, definitely shorting until Monday. Wish you luck. Hey, I wish you luck, SRT8. The only thing I always tell you is know you're out. That's the only thing I ever tell you. Know you're out. You can take any trade as long as you know you're out. All right, let's keep going. Florida bringing up an interesting perspective that SARK is at a 52-week low. Important thing to note there, right? This is the kind of the flush down from the growth trade, right? Will this come back? Something to keep in mind, right? Is this completely broken? Because if this is broken, then you guys can be paying attention to ARKK coming back. And who knows? maybe Kathy survived. I think she survived. She was able to come right back towards her levels. But really, I mean, think about it. Since 2022, in January, she was already at 64.35. She's only really gone down about 53% in the last year. It was more 2001 where she really broke. Is she coming back this year? It's up to you guys to determine, right? ARKK is pushing on the day. Big part of that is just Zoom getting the lift, Tesla getting the lift, and Roku staying strong, right? Roku's been staying strong, bouncing back. They mentioned about how they're going to be making their own TVs, still getting the push. So many Kathy haters out there. There is MD, and who knows? Maybe Kathy has it right. I know I've been a little bit of a Kathy hater. Can't say I've been wrong, at least since the downturn. But also, not all these growth names are going to disappear, right? And some of the growth names will come back. The only question is, will all of them come back, right? Because she has a big list there. I mean, Tesla's going to be the biggest driver for her. Zoom, Roku, the high percentage names. We're going to keep those in mind. All right, that's 157. I'm going to start wrapping up there. I'm going to take a look right back into Lucid just for you guys to see if it's going to open up again. Let me go to the 1 minute. Looks like we might be getting a 10-minute halt this time. When we got last halt was 149. So probably about 159. We'll get that reopen. I'm going to give it a second here. Let me actually pull up my Benzinga Pro. It'll give me a little bit more precise on that last halt. Looks like last halt I have at 149.56. So right near that 2 p.m. we should see that open. We'll look to see if we get that next lift up. Is it going to be the year of AI? Good mention there. I do think that is the sexy word or the trend word of the year. So if you hear companies mentioning AI, keep an eye on it, right? You get what I mean there? But yeah, definitely, I think AI is the sexy word. You'll see a lot of events. Last year, it was all about the metaverse. This year, it's all about ChatGPT. And of course, what is that? That's AI. So what are you going to see a lot of talk? Comparing themselves to ChatGPT, right? Comparing themselves to that AI. What are you seeing from a lot of Google talk? A lot of AI mentioned in their earnings report. Look at the earnings transcript. Look how many times was mentioned AI. Something to keep in mind. All right, we'll see if Lucid can open up here and take the next step up. But like always, we got to keep in mind thematic themes are what I always talk about here on Stock Market Movers. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Captain Kirk says means next Monday is red. I mean, it could happen there. All right, it looks like it's 159. We should get that open here in Lucid. Look at that, right back to 15. Holy crap. That's why you got to be careful on a name like that. It's probably going to halt in any second now. Right back down towards 1576. Oh, man. Little part of me wishes I was starting to get short on names like this. But like always, team, I'm not going to do anything while I'm on this show here, just randomly. But, man, that Lucid right back down, 1464s, 1463s. Be careful, team. That turnaround could be rapidly quick. You see it affecting a stock like NEO now. XPEV coming down fast there. Let's go to Fisker. Fisker already down there towards VWAP. That could get affected now. Lucid now halted to the downside there. As you get the higher and higher up, the ramp back down could be wicked. Wow. Trust me, if I could get this EKS on the cheap side right now, you guys let me know where it's cheap. I want it. I want some Lucid. Oh, man, it's just how it is, team. Just how it is. All right, team, I'll see you a little bit later on At the Close with Joel Elconin as we wrap up the week. It's going to be something to talk about. Of course, these Lucid Tesla trade. I actually was just talking about this yesterday on At the Close. Talked about how the EV didn't partake in the rally, in yesterday's Tesla rally. Well, guess what? Today's, it definitely did. Like always, catch up with all our shows right here on Benzinga. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Like always, team, see you a little bit later on At the Close, and hit the like and check out my book club. We're starting up again this Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern. If you're not a part of the book club, you're missing out, team. These are all the types of things that we're going to be talking about on the book club. See you next time. I hope that you guys appreciated me talking about a stock like Lucid today, staying with the action, and of course, letting you guys take control because you guys first pointed it out for me. That's what it's all about, team. We're here for each other in a community, supporting each other, and you don't see that too often anymore. So it's good to have you guys in the chat.